What do you do when the network completely rejects the lead man in your TV pilot?
Make another.
That's right, they get a mulligan. It's Or No Man Has Gone Before, next.
Welcome. I'm Chip Kocel. This is John Whitney. And this is Edith Keeler's Edge of Forever Bar and Grill. Welcome aboard. The bar is open.
That's right. Hey, I just want to say one thing before we get going and introduce this bottle, whatever. We are fans, not experts. If you are tuning in thinking that we're going to do a complete detailed recap of episode 3, Where No Man Has Gone Before, from the original Star Trek series in 1966, you're going to be sorely disappointed and confused, because we're going to jump around the timeline. We're going to probably forget things. We'll get things wrong. But you know what? It's all about us just sitting around and talking about one of our favorite TV shows.
That's right. Star Trek.
Right. Star Trek.
Yes,
right.
And thank you for bearing with us.
So I just wanted to say that because, by now you probably have figured that out if you watched it more than once. But if it's the first time watching,
it gets better.
Well, we're getting better.
Yeah.
All right, let's go on. Okay, so tonight,
what do we got at the bar tonight?
We got Sazerac Rye, which is out of Louisville, Kentucky, and the parent company of Buffalo Trace, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, my favorite whiskey is Buffalo Trace, by the way.
That's right. It says Sazerac Company, New Orleans. Buffalo Trace Distillery, Frankfort, Kentucky.
There you go. That's great.
So this is their rye offering. I think they have another rye as well somewhere.
And as you can, thank you for pouring this earlier before we were recording.
Yeah, we actually did it for 5 minutes and I forgot to hit record.
It's very good though. Cheers, John.
Thank you.
Hey, congratulations.
That's right.
Deja vu.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. I love rye too. That's great. Good. So how have you been? Everything good?
Yeah, everything good. I got a shirt.
Yeah, I love the shirt.
Check out my shirt, man.
I got my Star Trek t-shirts I've been wearing throughout.
Yeah, belly up a little bit.
And I love your t-shirt, by the way. It's not really a t-shirt. It's more like a bowling shirt, and I love it. I love it. It's an adult Star Trek shirt. It's great.
I can't remember what website we got it from, but they have a couple of different versions. I might get a couple more, and I'll get some t-shirts and stuff.
Love it.
I'll try to get. I don't have any Star Trek t-shirts. I've noticed. I've got a lot of Star Wars t-shirts.
Yeah, I'm gonna run out any minute. This is probably one of my last ones. I'll have to start intermixing my Star Wars t-shirts.
Yeah, you'll just have to rotate or something.
Yeah, because I'm not gonna have 80 Star Trek t-shirts.
No. No, that would be crazy.
Yes, that's so nuts.
But not unexpected.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Mostly thanks to my wife, who always doesn't know what to get me, so she gets me a Star Trek t-shirt.
See, there you go.
Yeah. Maybe
I'm starting to trend. Maybe Jen will start getting me Star Trek stuff.
Yeah, there you go. Well, she has to now because we got this podcast to do.
Got to.
This, for some reason, they showed this the third episode in, right? Which is very disconcerting because it's so the uniforms and the props are all from even the set is different. They have that weird thing coming out of Kirk's chair, like something
characters.
Out of War of the Worlds,
There's no McCoy. We do see Scotty for the first time.
Yeah. There's another doctor, yet another doctor.
Another doctor.
So there's three doctors thrown around here. It's crazy.
3 doctors. And then
another old man doctor, too. He's an old guy.
I don't know what they were into with the old man.
I don't get it, man. But they kept Leonard Nimoy. Again, the network still hated Leonard Nimoy, but they kept him.
Yeah. A lot of the shots are kind of emulating the original, broadcast. And they're new, but they're different at the same time.
The special effects shots?
They're more detailed, yeah.
Yeah, they are. The refit version of it is really good. That's right. It's really nice. That opening shot of the Enterprise is the plot is, according to his log entry that you hear, they are leaving the galaxy.
Yes, they're leaving the galaxy.
So they're coming away from the ship is coming away, but in the background is a beautiful star field of
the Milky Way or something.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely, and I think that's an amazing shot. It made me love the episode that much more.
And then they get a distress signal of some kind, some kind of a signal.
Yeah, it's always about a signal with this pilot episodes. With the first one with the cage, and this one they're getting a signal.
And this is 200 years old. This signal. It matches some kind of a code from a ship that disappeared 200 years before, which is different, weird because in the original timeline. Especially with Next Generation and everything, there's different time passes before they have a warp drive. You know, there's a certain year, and so if you go back 200 years from, I don't buy it that there's a ship way out there. Anyway,
I know.
It's so weird.
It is weird. Like, because the timeline of Khan is like 1996, 97, something like that, is when Khan took off in his ship and with all his crew, you know?
Yeah.
And so that's kind of weird. And, you know, with Strange New Worlds, they do a way of explaining that in subsequent episodes, like time-related episodes with the...
retconning.
Yeah. So the ship is flying away from the galaxy, and we see Kirk and Spock playing chess.
Yes.
In the rec room, I guess, right? And he's like, wait, we should have heard something by now. Kirk's like concerned. He's watching a screen while trying to play chess with
That's
Spock.
Right. And he's like, something about being uptight or something. He's like, yes, an earth emotion.
Yeah, earth emotion. Not human emotion, earth emotion.
emotion.
Yeah, it's one of your crazy earth emotions, you silly man.
Yeah.
You know, like that kind of thing.
Yeah, and Spock is definitely closer to the original pilot, the way he reacts and stuff.
Oh, yeah. We remember when he starts talking on the bridge, he's like, we're cracking up because it's like, the shield's in full intensity.
Yeah.
It's so great. Kelso calls down the rec room and says, hey, we got something. We found something. It's a little distress beacon.
Right. So they go up to the. They start to go up to the bridge, and Matt.
Gary Mitchell.
Gary.
Yeah, Gary Mitchell.
Gary jumps into the elevator at the last minute, right? And they go up, right? And he quickly takes his seat at the helm, I believe.
Yes.
Or is it the navigator?
Yes. And no, the helm where Sulu usually is.
Yeah, and he replaces a African American gentleman who actually starred in Room 222.
That is awesome.
Later
I
on,
know that.
a couple of years later, 1969 or 70, maybe.
Yeah, the diversity is obvious across the board here.
Yeah.
It's amazing, which we wouldn't notice today, but back then it's like groundbreaking, you know, for the diversity.
Yeah. So Spock starts to listen in on the signal, right? My question is that why did they not want to pay for post audio on the signal? Because all we hear is like this wee 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 wee, and he's
and when he has that ear thing.
Is it because his ears are his hearing is so sensitive? He's the only one that can hear everything on there.
I don't know.
He's like telling him, oh, there's 6 people dead. No, wait, 7. No, 6. One of them, and they're bringing up ESP.
Yeah, so we can't, as an audience, we don't hear any of it, right?
It's ridiculous. Only this noise. Very strange noise.
Yeah.
Which is weird because in the 60s, ESP was like this big word, this thing that people were into, you know, bending spoons, ESP, reading people's minds, all that shit.
Yeah.
Which I found kind of weird. But.
Yeah, it's funny how whatever's happening in like the collective unconscious makes its way into scripts like this, you know, in TV shows or any media.
Right.
I think it's a pretty cool or weird, or I don't know. It's like almost like a record of the time, you know. So yeah, it takes place in the future, but what are they talking about? Something we don't talk about at all anymore, really.
ESP,
Nobody talks
nothing.
about ESP, but God, everybody was like all about ESP and moving objects and bending spoons. Yeah.
What does Spock say? Something about moving objects and setting fires?
Yeah, setting fires and looking through walls, you know, that kind of thing.
I guess so.
Yeah, there's normal ESP and then crazy ESP according to this episode. So yeah.
All right, so they get the full message about ESP, how important it was in their messaging, and that they part of it is that there was a command to self-destruct the ship. So something went down on the Valiant, right? And
Spock's like, I must have read that wrong, you know.
Right.
It sounds like the captain ordered the destruction of his ship.
Yeah, and then Kirk says, okay, we're out of here. We're leaving the galaxy.
Yeah.
So they started to leave, and they're kind of going toward this kind of...
barrier thing.
Yes, barrier thing.
Okay, by the way,
yeah.
He just heard all that. Why would he say, all right, let's go through it? Why wouldn't Kirk exercise some sort of precaution and say, all right, there's an energy something thing there. Let's slow down. But
they just keep going.
Yeah, they just keep going, and then they come right back.
I see it. Spock is like, you know, he goes, it shows up on the deflector shields, but it's not on our sensors. But it's funny the way he says, the deflector shields, full intensity. He does that. Finally, he does it.
Yeah.
But so they end up hitting this barrier, and it's the ship is being tossed. There's a fire and explosions, and it gets kind of scary for the blonde girl. She goes up to Gary and like
and
Gary
Gary's holding
holds
his
her
hand. Gary with one hand is working the controls, but holding her hand and comforting her.
Which brings us to, did they bang? Mm-hmm. Did they bang?
Oh yeah,
I think they did.
You
bang.
bet they did.
I think they did.
Bang. They do it. They bang a lot.
I think so.
They are a couple. That's all there is to it.
I think so, because what's funny is like when Sally Kellerman comes onto the ship, and she steps down and starts talking to Mitchell, and is like, says they have some quip back and forth, and he's obviously trying to hit on her, and the blonde girl just kind of looks at him like, pig.
Yeah.
There's a little pig moment, so you know that something's happening there.
Oh yeah, definitely. Casual misogyny is amazing in this Star Trek. In general, in Star Trek.
Okay, so everything's exploding around them, and then Sally Kellerman and Lockwood, I think is his name, or
Gary Lockwood.
They fall to the ground. They get shocked. You can see that there's like some kind of a shock around their aura, and they both fall. And somebody looks at Sally Kellerman and is like, "Are you okay?" She's fine. And then they go over to Mitchell, and they roll him over, and his eyes are silver, and they go to
cut to a commercial.
So something's up with that guy.
And his eyes are all like silver.
Yeah, there's that big freeze hold on a frame, and they zoom in on it.
I saw an interview with Sally Kellerman. I did some YouTube research, and I was looking in, and Sally Kellerman did an interview years ago, like back in the 70s, and was saying that Gary Lockwood couldn't stand the contacts that they put in. In fact, he said that it was laminated aluminum foil that was put in his eyes, and she said it was contacts that had silver material in it. So I don't know what the real story is, but she said he so couldn't stand it that he would be freaking out in between takes, and because of the way it affected his eyes, he would hold his head back like a certain way. And then they said that kind of added to his character. Remember, he's always like, "Oh my God, Jim! Oh my God!" But it's so hurt his eyes and irritated them that you can see on some close-ups that there's some redness on his eyelids that are actually from him being irritated by those, and it added to his performance. And watching it on HD, you could totally see the red.
Yeah, I guess you can see it for sure. A lot of things are revealed with HD. We'll get to some of that stuff later. Sure. We go to the sick bay because Kirk wants to check on her.
Yeah.
On him. No,
he walks in and he goes, "Hi, Jim."
That's right.
Like, "Hey," without looking, because he has ESP now.
That's right. And he's like, "I know it's you, Jim. I know it's you." So he walks in. They have a conversation, and he's like, he talks about how great he feels and about how like mentally strong he feels, and he feels different. And he like shoves the monitor in front of him, and he says it's some kind of an author from
Spinoza. I wrote that down. I don't know the author, but
from 1996 or something.
1996 from another planet.
From another planet.
Yeah, that's why we were thinking about this like timeline of warp.
Yeah, because we all know that in Next Generation, the movie, First Contact.
Yeah.
That it was like the 2000s when we first get warp drive, and that's when the Vulcans come down, and that's when we have first contact. How is there? It leaves me. How is there a ship that far out without warp drive?
I know. It's a conundrum.
It doesn't jive.
But since it's the first pilot episode, like they have to
cut them a break, right?
Yeah, and they got to get their Bible straight because they're still making weird choices and calling things certain technical things they haven't really locked down yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Did you notice if they call them phasers or lasers?
They're phasers this time.
Oh, they're phasers. Okay.
I think so.
Yeah, I read somewhere that that Gene Roddenberry's like, no, lasers isn't going to work. We got to think of something different. And then they talked to some MIT scientist, and they came up with some phasers.
So the doctor is looking him over, right?
Yeah.
And he's like going, "You're fit as a fiddle," almost. But it was like, most people, at least there's something wrong with them.
Yeah.
And then he walks out with his giant bag, his doctor bag, but it's a box with a strap. Very strange. leaving him and Sally Kellerman together alone.
Yeah.
And they have a conversation about, he's feeling...
Oh, there was poetry from 1996 from that guy. Remember? My love has wings and something crazy things.
Yeah, something like that.
Hey, hippie. Interesting choice, Elizabeth. It's all about love. Yes. He's all about seducing her with really not even, not really making an effort to seduce her.
Not really, because she's in...
he just hit on her once on the bridge, and that was it, really. Yeah. I mean, that's all. But she's so enamored with him and his ESP abilities, And
then he fakes his death kind of thing. He's like, watch this, Sally Kellerman. No, not Sally.
Yeah, you're right, Sally Kellerman.
Sally Kellerman.
Dr. Elizabeth Daner.
And all the things go, woof, and he drops, and she's like going, what are you doing? Stop it, stop it. And she gets real close to him, and he wakes up and touches her cheek and stuff, and she doesn't pull away. So she, she's into it. Well, then there's this meeting, right? With everybody, all the department heads and her.
And on a set that they never used again.
Never used again, no.
Yeah,
and they're
it's
talking
supposed to be the conference room.
Right.
Right, but it's a weird set. It's like a three-dimensional aspect to it.
So the Kellerman character...
Yeah, Elizabeth Daner.
They're talking about how dangerous he might become, and she's defending him. Basically saying, something about a new kind of human. A better, more powerful, new kind of human, a better human, or whatever. And I just immediately went toward the Nazis.
Exactly. I immediately did too, because this is 1967. It's only 20 or 30 years after World War II.
Yeah.
And that's fresh, guys. That is fresh. Eugenics?
Eugenics. Yes, eugenics.
So and I think, and oh God, I hate to say this, but it's our fault because we were the ones that came up with eugenics, and I heard that Hitler read about it and came up with it that way.
What a great idea.
It's a great idea. Let's do it.
The master race.
It's horrible. Horrible. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
John's going to cut that out.
No. I'm not a fan of that shit.
No, it's awful, man. But yeah, totally. And even everybody in the conference room, when she's saying that, is quiet, oh shit, man, that's Hitler shit.
She's going off the rails.
Yeah, that's total Hitler shit, dude. And we're 200 years later after Hitler, man.
Yeah, way more than that, probably 300 years.
300 or 400, let's say.
All right.
Yeah, totally reeks of that. It reeks of that, totally.
Yeah, so what happens next? So they talk about how the dangerous she is, and they all...
Spock is quick to say, let's abandon him on Delta Vega.
Right, and so they leave.
Or kill him. You can either do that or kill him.
Right, so they all leave, and they just leave Kirk and Spock is telling him, don't wait too long, because the captain from the other ship obviously waited too long.
Yeah. And
so you either have to dump him or kill him, right?
That's his only choice. Dump him or kill him. And he's so logical about it, but still, ironically, has a weird emotion in his voice.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
Yeah, because he's still the old Spock,
Yeah, kind of. He's a little bit better this time, but he's definitely the old Spock.
I mean, much better in the very first episode, The Man Trap. He's toned it down a lot.
A lot.
Okay,
so they decide they're going to go to this Delta Vega place.
Stardate 1313.1.
Yeah, so they end up having to go and they have to knock out Mitchell.
Yeah.
So they show up, they're talking to Mitchell, and all of a sudden what do? They just kind of bum rush him?
Well, remember he's like, I'm thirsty.
Oh,
and
that's right.
He uses his psychic powers to get a futuristic styrofoam cup of water delivered to him. So he's drinking it. Jim, if you only knew the power of being a god. It's and he makes the cup go away, and Kirk grabs it in midair. I thought that was kind of cool.
He snatched it out of the air.
He's growing, his powers are growing, he's starting to become more of a jerk,
Yeah, so at that point they bum rush him, right?
Yeah.
And then Sally Kellerman's character, I can't remember her name. Sally Kellerman walks in with a thing.
A hypo spray.
And they hypo spray him so he gets knocked out, because they got to drag him to the transporter room, which they do. They go there and they stick him on a... If he comes in, they have to stick him again with a hypo needle.
Yeah.
And they put him on the pad, and he's completely knocked out, but yet he can stand up by himself with no aid. He's just like this,
Yes, it's...
just standing there.
Well, it's a theatrical cheat, It's like a way to help the other actors carry him.
Well, I know, because you don't want to have an actor holding his arm, and all of a sudden you beam down and your arm is separated from your body.
didn't even think of that.
Your
That's
grip
hilarious.
is like on his shoulder, and you're like, ah. Anyway, it's okay. So they're down on the planet.
Yeah, and now Gary's in a cage, basically, and he's like talking to Kirk. He's like, I took a dart for you on that one planet with the weird people, and I took a dart for you.
Remember that one time?
Yeah, and so he's like trying to make Kirk feel like shit or something.
But Kirk already knows that if he doesn't do something, that there's going to be some
problems. And Spock's all about killing him.
Oh yeah. So it's like they're getting some parts from that station, which is like uninhabited. It's basically a automated station of some kind.
Yeah.
A manufacturing of like some kind of a ore or something like that. And so they're stealing some parts to put on the Enterprise, which they don't have spare parts. Anyway, you got to go to the So they try to regenerate the dilithium crystals or whatever.
Yeah. Something like that. Yeah. They don't.
And they lock him up in that room, right? And he tries to get at him, right? And it's like this force field.
Yeah. And then he keeps pushing himself into the force field, and he gets knocked back, and his eyes stop the glow.
He's like, "Oh, Jim."
And then Kirk's like, "Yeah, we can help him." Because remember, you said it before. Even after this episode, Kirk has a huge amount of humanity.
Yeah,
and he's like, "Yeah, we can do it. We can help
empathy
him."
for people.
But Spock's like, "Kill him now while we have the chance." Like he's weak. Let's get him now and kill him.
Then we cut to a scene later. It's like Scotty is talking to him. And he's like, "Did you guys get that phaser rifle that I sent out?" He goes, "What phaser rifle?" As Spock walks in, he
goes, "All right, Kirk out."
Mystery solved. Mr. Overkill.
Mr. Overkill. And that phaser rifle, which I heard was an expensive prop, and they never used it again after this. Not once.
It wasn't in the original pilot?
No. And they had it specially built. It looks like it's made out of a bunch of like cookie cutter, like some kitchen cookie cutter things where you push dough through to get like
tubes and stuff.
Yeah, it's awful.
It's
horrible.
The gold tubes rotate. Remember he rotated it.
Yeah,
to try to,
for some reason.
He's like loading it.
Yeah, get this one. This one's better than the previous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then it kind of dissolves into. Well, so he tells the character with the blonde hair. What's his name? Lee. He tells Lee, if push comes to shove and he got you cornered, go ahead and hit this button. Do you have the destruction button?
Right. He rigged a destruction button, so
the entire place would blow up.
Yeah, and so they're having this conversation. Like, he knows Lee's gonna blow the place if things get out of hand. We'll get out of here.
Yeah.
Meantime, Gary's growing stronger, and then he kills
Lee.
He kills Lee using his psychic powers, his ESP. Exactly. And then this cable that was so prominently featured in a foreground of a shot where they're wrapping cable. This thick cable.
Like all of a sudden it kind of stands up and stuff.
The cable gets up and totally destroys Lee. Which I loved Lee's character. I thought he was kind of cool.
Yeah, he was in the original pilot as well, I believe.
Oh, was he really? I don't remember seeing him.
I think he was in the original. I'm not 100% sure because we're fans, not experts.
Exactly, and. I like that actor's performance, and I kind of like, man, it's too bad. Like, he could have had a sweet gig had he lived.
But he's dead. So I'm wondering if he actually shows up in some early episodes, not really knowing.
Oh, you mean
because it's the pilot,
right?
And it was important to the show to the pilot to be able to show that he's killing somebody.
Right.
So so they had no other footage of anybody else getting killed, but with his ESP, right? So I'm curious if we look down and look later on in some shows that he kind of pops up.
Right.
And they just don't say anything.
Right. That's a good thought. I wonder, maybe we could keep
we'll keep an eye out.
Keep a side going for that.
Probably wrong.
What's interesting as a story point of view is that Gary right now is because he killed Kelso, sadly.
Kelso?
Yeah, that's his name.
No, it was Lee.
Oh, Lee, sorry.
Yeah, Lee.
Kelso, who's Kelso?
I don't know.
Well, because he killed Lee, that's the point of no return. Like, he could have been redeemed as a character up until this moment.
That's right. I'm serious, Lee.
Yeah. Remember, like, that scene that happens when he walks in on him and Dr. Elizabeth? He thinks he's making out with Elizabeth.
Yeah, I think so.
But he goes, he kind of like interrupts us, hey, just want to check on you. And then he tells him about the points on the thing. It's like, I'm serious, Lee. Those things are going to blow. If you,
Anyway,
we
digress.
And
going back.
See, we skip around like John
That's what we
said.
do because things pop into our heads from memories of.
I'm seriously.
He's an echoey voice.
Yeah. That's it. He kills Lee and he makes a break. He makes a break for it. Meantime, during all this stuff, then he deactivates the force field, and what happens? But Elizabeth gets taken over to a mirror, and we dramatically reveal that
she got the silver eyes.
She got the silver eyes. So she's about to become.
Because he had knocked he shocked Spock and Kirk.
Yeah.
And everybody else who was there, except for her, and she like turns around like a robot. He leads her into the room. They stare into the mirror, and she's got silver eyes, and brings to the second. Did they bang? Mm-hmm. Do they bang?
Oh yeah.
Right then and there, or no?
I think later.
Oh, you don't think he like took his opportunity?
Remember, it's the next day. Like Kirk wakes up and it's like, yeah, I saw him in the dawn light. You know.
So there was time.
There's time that went by. So yeah, they banged.
So he knocked him out.
I think so.
Like big time.
Yeah, he did because the doc comes in and gives him a pill.
Yeah, which
doesn't
is
give
weird.
him an injection.
They've already established they got the spray thing.
Yeah, why didn't they use that?
They have the pill. Take this pill.
They put a pill in the unconscious mouth of Kirk.
And suddenly he wakes up.
Yeah. It's like, that's a bitter pill, baby. That's a bitter pill to swallow. Why would you do that? It's modern medicine, modern futuristic medicine. It drives me crazy, but they must have figured that out right away, you know.
Yeah, they probably said, this is stupid. After it was all done, like, I think the hypo spray pretty much every time we'll just use that.
Yeah, exactly.
The hypo spray makes more sense. So he says, don't give Spock a pill because this is all on me. I need to go get him.
Yeah, he grabs the rifle
and gets out of there.
Yeah.
So he's like, so then we cut to them, Sally Kellerman and Mitchell. Yeah. Walking through the rocks of this planet.
This desolate world where the wind is blowing and the dust is everywhere. There's no life.
And suddenly he's like, they're talking about Eden, not Eden, but some.
She says, "There's no way we can survive here," or something like that.
She says. Behold. I think he actually uses the words "behold."
Yeah.
Behold. That's right.
And it turns it into a little paradise right there.
Eden.
Yeah. Kind of complete with like a water fountain and.
Oh yeah, it's really funny though. He puts his hands in the water and he's like, in the water. He's like, I've never seen water so beautiful because I created it. I'm a god.
Yeah, it's great.
It's really weird.
It's so weird, man.
But some of the choices are kind of strange.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But all of a sudden he like puts up this apple tree, which there's a lot of like these like Bible kind of things where it's Adam and Eve basically with eating the apple and all that stuff. But they didn't get
these apples look a lot like pears.
Yeah, big pears.
And he calls them something. What does he call them? I think I wrote it down.
Did you write it down?
Yeah.
I did not. I did write the word "behold!" exclamation point.
There you go.
On my notes. Behold. I always like when what went into my mind when he said "behold" was Monty Python. Camelot. I don't know why.
Let's not go there. 'Tis a silly place. Okay, it's called Catharian apples. Catharian apples. I like these Catharian apples. I visited another planet once. It was like one of those kind of things.
All right.
Oh, my favorite, Sally Kellerman says.
Basically, of course.
So, they break him open and start eating them.
And all of a sudden, he kind of recognizes that Kirk is nearby. He's like, "Do you hear me, Jim Kirk?
Yeah.
Do you hear me?"
And Kirk's like looking around. Yeah, he hears him.
I know. There's this weird shot where the rifle is on top of a rock, and he's kind of like, it's almost like they said, okay, act like you're going up this rock, like there's something on the other side, and you're like climbing this rock, and he's like with this thing.
Yeah.
He steps to the side.
That's right.
And Mitchell's like, just keep going.
Keep coming, Kirk. You'll find me. You're on the right track.
Yeah, come to the right path.
For a human.
Yeah. So he tells Sally Kellerman to go. Once you go tell him, and once you talk to him, you will know how below us they are, or something like that. To that effect.
Like he's totally into them being gods at this point. It's out of the totally.
And he's trying to convince her that being a god, that means you don't need to care about anybody but yourself.
Right. Even at this point,
right.
Well, I don't know. Well, so she does go to him. She goes to Kirk.
Yeah.
And Kirk, in a typical, like, you see this, now this is the first time we get typical kind of Kirk thing where he's like saying, hang on to being a human, like that kind of thing, like, be a human, be a psychologist for just a few more moments.
Right.
You can tell me that you must.
I'm cutting in that, by the way. That'll be right there. Hopefully we can sync it up a little bit. That'll be fun.
It's totally like, but it's like his totally right on for his character. You know what I mean? Like,
I know.
Think about what it is to be a human. I need your help. You've got to help us.
Yeah.
I love that part of it. It's like that's one of my favorite scenes because now it's that Roddenberry, introspection. What does it mean to be a human?
Right.
To our frailties, our flaws is what make us part of what's going to happen if now we become a god and we still have those frailties and those fears of the dark part of us that we don't talk about until we actually talk to like a therapist. That's basically what he's saying.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. So
he has that conversation with her, and then Mitchell shows up. And then he talks to Kirk and basically wants him to kneel to him and treat him as properly as a god.
Yeah, and during this whole time he's being tortured like this. He's like, see Sally, this is what I was talking about,
Yeah.
And so she starts to come around in typical.
So Kellerman decides that she is going to help Kirk, and she is able to wield some kind of a lightning, and so she starts. Start the lightning. That's my lightning noise.
I love it.
It's pretty close, actually.
Very close.
So they have this lightning off, which kind of reminds me of Darth Vader and Palpatine.
Yes.
In Star Wars, where he's like, she can't.
Oh my God! I just thought of something.
Okay.
Oh my God.
What?
Kirk says absolute power corrupts absolutely.
That's right.
And I'm wondering if Stan Lee watched that episode and came up with Spider-Man around then.
No, Spider-Man was before. He was early 60s.
Was it?
We'll find out.
I don't know. Write it down in comments below if Stan Lee was influenced or influenced Star Trek. Gene Roddenberry. Go ahead.
I think. Yeah. It may have been right around the same time, actually.
Right.
Because
of absolute power corrupting absolutely.
Yeah, maybe.
Because everything's coming off of World War II, ladies and gentlemen. Come on, we're not that far off of World War II. We wish we were, but we really weren't.
Yeah,
really.
It's totally informed by what happened 20 years before.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so go on. What were you saying? I'm sorry.
So they start doing their. I found it weird. The lightning
Palpatine.
off.
Yeah.
Palpatine, Star Wars,
George Lucas is watching this.
Yeah, I'm sure. Okay. He's I think probably at 66. He's in USC right now.
Right.
Wherever
exactly.
he went.
Yeah.
UCLA or wherever he went. I can't remember which one.
I was like, that's interesting. I think I'll use that.
I'll write that down. My hair will be this thick forever. So. It's true, right?
Yeah.
That dude's got some hair, man.
Absolutely.
So they go back and forth, and then suddenly she overwhelms Mitchell, and Mitchell's eyes turn brown. She's like, hurry, you don't have much time, And then there's fisticuffs.
Oh, yeah. Fisticuffs. This is what the network wants. They want a nice fight scene.
Yeah, they want some fight scenes. And
that's what probably sold it, was the fight scene.
And even though when I was a kid watching this and on a crappy TV set and it wasn't HD, you kind of knew that it wasn't really, there were stunt guys.
Like in wide shots, they would cut to
Oh my God, but in HD, it is like...
Yeah, you could totally tell. Like, they could make a baseball card for stuntmen that are in Star Trek based on the shots that you see, because they're so clearly, obviously, not William Shatner and, Lockwood.
I mean, they probably were at Star Trek conventions with the still frame of them in the white shot, signing autographs.
The old guys.
That's right.
It was a stuntman. Imagine that.
Shatner stuntman for 3 years on Star Trek.
Oh, man. Yeah, totally.
Anyway, so they have a fight, and it's back and forth for a minute. His eyes come back, and he's still fighting them. And somehow, oh, no, we forgot.
What?
Before the fight happened, And this is right before
Oh,
Kellerman.
yeah. Okay.
He says, "We must bury you in
Yeah.
a fitting grave." You know.
Yeah,
and
because he's
also-
talking about, I'm thinking about a funeral for a good dear friend.
Yeah.
And he like creates this grave, and it has a gravestone on it.
which says James R. Kirk.
Yes, and as you all know, it's James T. Kirk.
That's right.
Yeah,
Do better, Roddenberry.
yeah, man.
Anyway.
I saw something on the YouTube spiral I went down the other night. That the guys that did the new special effects said they contemplated changing the R to a T, but they said there were too many shots to do. It'd be too expensive. And now there's fan theories that, well, Gary didn't really know him that well, so he thought his name was an R, James R. Kirk, because Gary Mitchell didn't really know, his good friend. You and I are friends, and I don't, come to think of it, I really don't know your middle name. Do you have a middle name?
I do.
What is it?
Edward. Tiberius.
See?
No.
Edward. See? John Edward Whitney.
What is yours? Chip.
Charles.
Charles.
And no, middle name.
Yeah.
You don't know?
No.
See? So it's completely possible for Gary Mitchell to mistakenly
What is your
put
middle
R.
name?
Kirk. Lucas.
Oh, that's sweet.
I know, isn't that weird? It's like Charles Lucas Kocel, baby. Woo!
I think I have heard that.
But you
before.
can call me Chip. Yeah, I've never heard your middle name though.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, that's weird. But so yeah, there's that R on there. So
right.
that fan theory to me holds water. How about you, John?
It's possible, but I think they're just kind of trying to cover their ass.
Yeah, for sure. They didn't know that it was Tiberius yet.
Okay, so they have their
Yeah,
fight.
it's the pilot, man.
That's true. They have their fight, and they both fall into the grave. And Kirk somehow stumbles out of the grave and grabs the rifle, the laser rifle, shoots this giant kind of flat rock, and then everything shakes. And actually, we see that rock in a shot before, with little foreshadowing of that thing coming down. And then the Sally Kellerman character, she
says, "I'm sorry," and she dies.
She dies.
Sadly.
Right there on the
Spoiler alert. But
that's it though. That's the end of the show.
That's it. I think at some point, Gary's character, the character of Gary, had opportunities to say, "Kirk, I'll tell you what, get out of here, leave, and Sally and I will create mini children here." Something like he had opportunity to do the right thing, but.
How would he get off the planet though?
Well, he wouldn't. That's the thing. He says, "Go ahead and leave, and I'll just stay here with Sally and create a huge planet." That's what he should have done if he, if he saw that there was such resistance to him being a god. But what do you think of that? Is it that that electrical force that somehow is around the galaxy? I guess, is it around the whole galaxy? I don't know.
I don't know.
Did it affect him? Give him that he already had ESP, but it heightened it, or was it alien influence, or was, what do you think of that? Like where the actual, or is it just a simple plot device?
It might be a plot device, and it may be like he's connected with all energy around the galaxy. I believe that. So maybe he can control outside things, kind of like the Kirk Russell character in the Marvel. He played the father of what's his name?
The father of Star-Lord.
Star-Lord, yeah. So he was kind of a godlike person who could control things.
Another godlike story. There's Roddenberry writing stuff about.
Yeah.
I guess if you're going out into space where there's absolutely nothing, the thing you want to seek out is maybe God type stuff.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, and at the end, they're on the bridge, and Spock says, "I felt for him too." And
that's right.
Remember, and then.
Yes.
And then the last shot is Kirk saying something. At the end of every episode, Kirk tries to say something witty, or there's some banter, and he says, "Well, there might be hope for you yet, Mr. Spock." But it's not in a funny way. He says it in a very, I think it's a sincere way.
Yeah, you're getting
and Kirk has a ace bandage on his hand. After this, they're like, okay, you know what? In the future, maybe they don't need ace bandages. They have a medical device that will make you heal a certain.
Yeah.
But you'll see it. You can see clearly he has a sprained wrist. I think
later on they do have stuff that can heal people a little bit better.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the end of the show.
Yeah, that's it.
Thanks for watching, guys. The next episode is going to be one of my favorite, actually, Naked Time.
Oh, I didn't know that was one of your favorite.
It is one of my favorites.
I'm going to look at it differently now.
It's where you see Sulu for the first time in full Sulu.
Oh, that's awesome.
So Naked Time's the next one. Thanks for watching, guys. Comment down below.
Yeah.
If you like this show and you like just two old guys drinking whiskey and talking about Star Trek in not a good way, we suck at it sometimes.
Yeah. But even if you don't like it, please, I'm old enough that I can take the criticism.
We can take some criticism.
I love it. Bring it.
Just don't be mean.
Yeah.
Just say something nice.
If you happen to be mean,
okay,
I understand.
It's okay. So until next time.
Yep, the bar is closed.
See you later.
Bye.